Okay. Thank you. Should have brought my bigger glasses for this one, huh?
Maybe an 8.
Gotta fit it all on one page. And the facts. Oh, this is. Okay.
Okay, let's begin. Can we rise for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chairman Conley,
Here.
Rebecca Anderson. Here. John Coltis,
Here.
Anthony Gorski,
Here.
John Keith, or Joseph Keith,
Here.
Lawrence Korzinski.
Here. Okay, welcome everybody. This is a meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster. Keep in mind that we are an advisory body and a recommending body, but not a final decision-making board. We ask that anybody wishing to make comment do so in writing. We have a couple administrative items and then we'll move on to the agenda. Minutes of May 18th. Pretty short minutes, I think, so any additions or deletions, comments? Okay, can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Communications list. We will have some additions. Sherry, I made notes for the, so you can have this afterwards, so it might be a little easier than trying to write everything down. But we're going to add 6.01.12. It would be a letter from Ed Schiller, Town Engineer, regarding 9 Division Street. Got that tonight. 6.01.13, another letter from Ed Schiller regarding Robert James Sales. 6.01.14, response from Erie County Division of Environment and Planning regarding the local law for lot size changes. And then 6.01.15, a letter dated 6/1/22 from Mark Schaefer and Sheila Malicki, voicing objection to the project at 9 Division Street. So if you haven't had a chance yet, take a look at the communications.
What did the county have to say about lot sizes?
They had no recommendation.
Okay.
All right, if we're good, let's move on to the agenda. First up, revised site plan review for single-family dwelling on vacant lot located at 9 Division. Contact person is Jason Cerniak.
Yeah, I believe you all have a copy of everything. I just brought it to, in case I need to point out or show you guys anything.
You can spread.
How's everybody doing today?
No, you can say it.
Everybody got a copy, so go ahead.
I'm Jason Cerniak. This is Lauren Cerniak. We're both local Lancaster residents. We're actually married right here in this room. Through COVID, we bought a property on Division Street there. Originally, I was going to use it as a small business, like office and a garage space. After talking with Craig, the zoning clerk, he said of all the properties I listed off, this would be the best one for that. Well, so right after we bought it, we realized that wasn't going to be a good option because of the zoning laws and things like that. So we decided to make a single-family residence, and my wife's parents are going to live there as they snowboard back and forth from Florida. It's going to be a small, like a one-family apartment, with a patio off the back. It's a beautiful lot over there. And I believe Matt, just wants to make sure everything's done right more than anything, because of things in the past that happened in the town that, may have not allowed for access or other reasons or just not done properly. So we're trying to make sure all our paperwork's in order, and hopefully you guys have everything you need to help us out.
All right, I have a couple questions. Matt, could you help me out with this? Is this similar to the Bradley Street property? What do you call that? I forgot what kind of a lot that's called, but...
Oh, it's an undeveloped parcel, but it's dead end street.
All right, so in your opinion, do we still have to wait for a judgment by Chuck Malcolm for this one? Because we're waiting on the Bradley Street?
Well, I'm of the opinion that this is an undeveloped lot on a dead end street.
Because I hate to do something for one and not for the other, so that's the only thing. So the way you're thinking, it would need to go through seeker, it'd be a type, or an unlisted action or
It
not?
would be a type 2 action.
It would be a type 2?
It could be a type 2 action.
But I didn't think we,
I'm going to refer to legal counsel for that, for these specifics.
all right.
Again, when I make these recommendations on the initial applications, I'll read through, and I believe with this, I've itemized. Because we were discussing improvements on an existing parcel, but it's undeveloped. So even back in July of 2021, it could be interpreted as type 2, relying on legal counsel, but we could see it as an unlisted action. Because of the descriptions of what a type 1 and type 2 action is.
Okay, so it's still pending, I guess, then, right? If we're going to rely on council.
Yeah, I haven't yet to receive any correspondence from outside counsel.
Yeah. We're still waiting on that, right?
Yeah, still waiting on it, so if you want to wait, your response on that and have them look at this project as well, do that.
There definitely are similarities. Just to be clear, so if it's called an unlisted action, we would have to go through the entire environmental review process, which takes 30 days, at least 30 days. If it's a type 2 action, we don't have to do any of that.
That's not SHPO, is it?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
that's just one thing. I know you got to sign off from SHPO, right? Yes. You did include a turnaround?
Correct.
At this point?
From our engineer, Healy.
Okay. Now, I noticed you mentioned Dan Amatura. We have a new highway superintendent. Has he had a chance to look
I
at the
don't
turnaround?
know.
Okay. Any questions, comments, board members?
In the turnaround, excuse me, sir, before you close
Go ahead.
this out, that turnaround would be a value for the whole area. Between the Amazon trucks and we really wouldn't be the nuisance. We're actually cleaning up the end of the street. And like I said, it's a beautiful lot. I would like to fish back there maybe if it's possible. I mean, we really want to make it look nice over there. Just if you take that in any type of consideration.
And I think, some of the neighbors might be concerned that we're gonna clear the whole lot, and it's not gonna have that wooded look. We're only clearing what we need to make that house.
And that was even one of the requirements from SHPO to leave as many trees as we could, to leave as much of the wooded land as we could leave. And we totally agree.
Well, clearly, some of the neighbors have many concerns, and it's something that we, as a planning board, we don't want to ignore that either.
Sure.
I know you've been going through this process for a long time, but we want to make sure we do it right. Any other comments?
I think my concern is, what exactly are you doing across the street? Many of the neighbors have approached us, say you're conducting business there, there's trucks in and out, there's storage, and that it's not anything that was approved by the town.
So originally I was gonna put a business there. And that's the overflow of my stuff that hopefully I used to build the house with, some of it, but it's really just my overflow of stuff that I have nowhere really to put. I mean, it's, compared to what that lot looked like before, and the neighbor across the street that runs a business out of his house, that's the cleanest lot on the street.
Well, the
Compared to the
question is,
houses.
do you
and,
have approval for what you're doing there? Because trucks are seen going in and out, there's storage, there's materials, there's business activity.
Yeah.
Residential.
Well, that's not business activities. That's me. I leave my trailer there. I go there and it's not a cargo trailer, or not a work trailer, an ATV trailer. And it's just, I got like a shipping container on there full of stuff.
Do you have approval from the town for any of this?
No. We were actually, we got to the point where we put the fence up or redid the fence and put the millings down. And then we were at this point, which this has been going on for quite a while now. And we're hoping to actually move over to the other lot and build something and have, a house there.
The idea is that we'll, use that area while we build, and then once we build, we'll clear it out, and it'll be the town.
I don't know, Matt, do you have any comment about what's going on that lot? Because the neighbors have all at least approached me, the ones
We
that live there.
contacted our department as well. So that's what initiated the first contact. And there was some complaints that were filed. There was a violation received information about the fence around the perimeter of that lot, didn't quite meet the standards. And then it wasn't too long after that, the applications came in, for site plan review and determination. One, how to terminate this dead-end street, and two, how to service this parcel as a single-family residence.
But what about what he's doing across the street? I mean, is that allowed or
Across the-
permitted?
There's a dead-end street, and then there's a little 80 by 80 parcel that I'm assuming is being dedicated to the town for right of way, for the turnaround area. That's my understanding of where this may end up.
Well, I'm
What's
talking
happening
about-
that nothing was permitted on that property to date. We don't have any permits issued on that.
Including where he has the millings, the storage
Correct.
trailer,
Correct.
whatever he's
And
doing?
none of the improvements there were permitted or approved by this board or administratively.
I was under the impression you don't need permits to remove trees and put down millings.
You do. We have a section of code called the environmental resources. So you would have had to,
And, I mean, there was rusty chain wire fences, and that place was, as far as when I took it over, it had to be cleaned. And there were tires and rusty chicken wire, I mean, that place was just completely overgrown. If I would've left it like that, I mean, you'd be telling me that I left a death trap. I mean, I do agree there's a shipping container on there, but that's full of materials that I hope to build a house with, right 20 feet away. You know, I mean, after talking with your town, the guy that does the plant, Craig, the zoning clerk, he told me that this wouldn't be an issue, or I wouldn't have bought the
I'm going to
property.
correct this applicant right now. Your reference to Craig Blanchard is totally false. He's a building and zoning clerk. You did not obtain a letter of zoning compliance for your proposed use. Because as I investigated these allegations, it was directed that you were going to install an office in the RCO district at that time. But this is not going to be the first meeting that I corrected you about a conversation with the building and zoning clerk. There's no bearing. Your attorney had not requested a letter of zoning compliance.
So I guess it's not
You
official
did not
that he told
propose
me
your
that.
project accurately and with full understanding of what the intended use was. At the time, it was a residential, commercial office district that allowed a business office only, no contracting services, no business activity, just an office space, an accountant, an attorney, things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's 1 and 2 family buildings. That's
Well,
all that was notable.
so then
Now,
we-
the constant reference to a Mr. Blanchard as a building and zoning clerk who has no authority to issue zoning compliance, and the code is clear that before you propose anything, you should request it. You should understand what is allowed and what's not allowed. Make application for your permits, and then move forward rather than begin the clearing and the construction and the paving and everything else that happens up to this point.
I understand.
So I think I've been pretty, open and honest about what is required up until today, going through the site plan review process, the building permit process, and yet we have a parking lot that's installed on an 80 by 80 lot. No setbacks are being met with regards to off-street parking. There's now a shipping container on site, which is a structure in and of itself, one that's not permitted in a mixed-use multifamily district, nor was it permitted in the RCO district, only in the general commercial, or at the time, the business districts and industrial districts.
Okay.
So, I mean, let's not muddle up the waters with, I talked to Craig, and he said, and she said. The code is the code. That's the standard. And when we don't meet that standard, we're substantive. I gotta make that very, very clear here.
After he suggested which property to buy, we bought that, we realized we weren't able to do what we originally wanted to do. Now we've pivoted, and here we are a few years later. And
Ed, any other comments?
Not from engineering, no, they answered the water sewer turnaround is suitable to meet the town standard as far as size and everything else.
Is there a deed description of the parcel of land that's going to be deeded over to the town?
not the,
Does the attorney's office have a deed description? So that when the transaction does happen, the filing happens, the improvement approve this can be transferred over to the town and receive this property?
Since I was just seeing the parcels, I have combined the two larger ones and separated the small one that will be deeded over to the town. So it's on its own.
Okay, members, I'm not sure where you want to go from here, but I think we need to, first of all, wait. We have to wait and see what the council tells us.
Mr. Malcolm, I refer to
Yeah.
Mr. Malcolm. Okay.
This should probably be referred over to him as well.
Yeah, Emily,
Not
could,
just wait for the Bradley Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that something you could do, or
Yep, I can do it.
thank you?
Just so I'm clear, what is the similarity between the two projects? I don't know.
Another project is taking place where they want to build a single-family home in a similar situation at the end of the street, and it's not a,
Wasn't a dedicated,
wasn't a dedicated lot.
it was a, come on,
Ex-
an exception.
exception, yeah.
An exception. A subdivision was created and divided, and they left a parcel as an exception, but they never made it a dedicated lot. So we don't know if it's a buildable lot. And here, not only would I feel more comfortable getting an answer from Mr. Malcolm, but I would feel more comfortable if you cleaned everything up, got rid of the shipping container, and brought everything into compliance before you come back again. I have no reason to believe that the complaints that we've heard are going to be remedied if we approve this project. I mean, you're saying it's full of your building materials, but we don't know that. We just know we've heard complaints from the neighbors of activities of trucks coming in and out and
I have video of the guy across the street bringing in tree trucks. Them are not my trucks.
Well, I'm not talking about him. We're talking about
Well, they're
you.
not mine.
Well, I'm wondering if there's a.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a miscommunication. There's big
Because
trucks
we're
with
not
trailers.
doing business.
I don't have any trailers. I have it all on camera that cross the street. I mean, multiple times a day, all weekend long, there's trucks going up and down from tree companies dropping off logs.
Where are they placing them?
They're dumping them in the driveway. I have it all on camera. I have every single bit of it. I don't have anything but a pickup truck.
I think
I
the,
mean, there's
I
big,
haven't been back since you were here the last time. I have not been there again. I'd like to table at a minimum, so not only waiting to find out the answer about your lot, but I would like to have an opportunity to get back there and look again myself. I feel more comfortable.
please, and I'll try to get you some of the photos and the videos of
I'll just drive
the
down the street.
activity. Cool. Excellent.
It can't hurt to have that ready, honestly, because it sounds like
And I wish to get along with all the neighbors too. I mean, I hope, it's a beautiful, like I say, it's beautiful. I got a son. I mean, we really, when we rolled up on this place, we're like, oh my God, this is just something we'll keep in our family forever. And, you know, it didn't work out to put a business there. I'll definitely work on getting the lot cleaned up. I have to find a location for this stuff, but I will definitely get on it right away.
if and when the time comes that he can build, does he have to move everything back over there because he's building it himself?
Yeah, it's the plan to build it ourselves and like do the foundation as we can and hopefully come out of it without a huge mortgage payment also, you know. We do want to spend all our money in Lancaster.
How many acres is this parcel?
A little over one.
Over one. Okay. So you border up against the creek?
Creeks in the back, yeah.
Okay. So you have a floodplain regulation, you have stream disturbance to worry about, so you can't go back there with anything but your feet.
Right.
You've got, we have environmental resource protection districts. We have streams, rivers, forested areas, floodplains, and wetlands, and you've got them all.
Love it.
You've got all the restrictions on this site. So I also am not sure, I mean, your neighbors are already there. There's nothing we can do about their disturbances and their pools and all that stuff, where historically it looked the same as yours. We can't do anything about that. We're only addressing yours. So I guess my question was, at a minimum, what are you clearing? And part of one thing you could help me with when you come back is plan for exactly what trees you're taking out, because part of the forested area requires you to tell us what trees you have and the disturbances you can make within 25 feet of the drip edge.
None within 25 feet of the creek
Well,
edge.
you already cut them down.
No, no.
Okay.
It's on a different lot.
This is the lot where.
Oh, you already
Take the
cut
right
that,
boundary.
you already cut the one down where the turnaround's gonna be.
Yep, on this here, this lot, this
That one you,
rusty filled lot was cleared out.
that one you cleared out.
Here's the street here.
Thinking that there was lush trees there. This is an old Google Maps photo.
Well, I
There were
haven't been,
not.
like I said, it's my fault. I have not.
And this looks really overgrown. There's only about 4 or 5 big trees.
I'm gonna go. If anybody else has any other ideas, but I would move to table.
Okay, is that a motion?
I will make an motion, I
Okay.
move to table.
All right,
I'll second.
So then I guess for my own knowledge, what do we do from this point?
Well, we wait till we hear from council on whether or not it's a
type 2 or unlisted.
type 2 or unlisted and is a building lot or not.
Okay, and the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you. All right, next we have Robert James Sales.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chase Kramer. I'm with Bergman, the engineering and architecture company. I'm here representing Hybrid Building Solutions. I have here with me tonight Jade Dennis from Hybrid Building Solution. He can answer any questions in regards to the mission of this project or anything out of the scope of work we are presenting tonight. We are here tonight to seek approval for modifications to a previously approved site plan. To give you an idea of what is being modified in this package, currently, everything in the Phase 1 approved plan has been done out there. HBS is moving into Phase 2, and after talks with the town and the owner on this project, it was determined that a building for storage of the on-site vehicles was needed to be erected for this property. So we are proposing the addition of an 80 by 60 pole barn that's pre-engineered structure, as well as the associated pavement for the structure. And that's to allow for the vehicles to pull in through the vehicle and out through the building and then out through the other side. We are also proposing modifications to the second warehouse that's going to be constructed in Phase 2. This second warehouse is being reduced by approximately 50%, and we're also going to be adding 2 truck docks similar to the truck dock that was constructed in Phase 1 for the first building. So currently, the site itself is accessible via the 2 drives off of Walden Avenue. In the previously approved plans, there were 103 parking spaces total for the site, as well as 7 truck docks total. So we're going to be increasing that. We're going to be increasing the truck docks to 9 instead of 7 for this plan. Lighting is being provided based on the previously approved plans, and in terms of landscaping and whatnot for the site, we are not making any modifications to the landscaping here. We do not anticipate any traffic or any negative effects to traffic for the additions for this. In terms of stormwater, we are utilizing the additions or the extra factor of design that was submitted in the original SWIP report prepared by Greenman Peterson's Inc. that was approved in the previously approved plans. They basically allowed for an extra 10% of impervious area for the building that's going to be constructed in Phase 3 of this project. So we are utilizing that 10% now to add this additional impervious area and building. So this new additional impervious area and building is approximately 11,900 square feet. The allotted design for the warehouse that's going to be constructed in phase 3 is approximately 10% of the building area, which is 120,000 square foot in size. So we're going to fall about 100 square foot below that allotted design. And then the the new truck docks that we're going to be putting in this phase, they will have a trench drain located at the base of the truck docks, which will tie into the existing drainage. So we're not adding any new impervious area for this portion of the project. We aren't making any changes to the sanitary sewer on site, but we are going to be adding a new water service for the pole barn to provide a sprinkler system inside for fire protection. We will also be running electricity there to maintain heat in the utility rooms and keep an ambient temperature in the building so that the pipes don't freeze or electrical systems get damaged. And we are not proposing any additional signage on this site.
Engineering had some concerns here. Do you want us?
Well, yeah, based on your explanation, I've got some more questions now. So the revised site plan,
Yes.
let me back up. The original site plan had 2 warehouses and an office building, basically,
Correct.
you want to call it that. And this revised site plan,
So this is, yes, so this revised site plan is based off of the as-built survey that was
Right.
conducted for phase 1.
Right.
So that site plan is, we do not show that building on this site plan because it's not constructed and it's not part of our scope for this portion of the project.
the office building,
Correct.
you're removing it from the site plan.
No, we are not removing it. That is going to be conducted in phase 3. We are simply modifying what's happening in phase 2 of the project.
Right, but you've taken up all the stormwater capacity.
No, we are not.
You said with the pole barn, you're swapping it out for the office building.
No, so the office and warehouse area was designed, the stormwater facilities on site were designed to handle an additional 10% on top of the 120,000 square foot.
Right.
So we are using that allotted extra to add this new pole barn to the site.
Including the office building?
Yes. So we are still under the design that was approved originally with the town. So we're still falling under, we're still meeting those requirements for the stormwater design.
Okay. Second question I got, we got a request today to do a water test, observe a water pressure or water flow test. You know what
Okay.
that was for?
I'm not aware for that.
What's that?
Wasn't that Commons Heritage?
No.
Oh, is this one?
What was the question?
We got a call today to observe a water pressure test, and I'm trying to figure out where they put water lines in that they're testing.
They put the new hydrant line on the backside of the Phase 2 building.
Okay. You don't have any PIP permits for any of that, you know?
That, I believe they just wanted a third party or a fourth party to witness.
Correct, but I'm saying to do any construction out there, you need a PIP permit, which you don't have. Your PIP permit was for phase 1, which you've built, and the permit was closed. So if you're doing construction, you need a PIP permit on site.
Right, so the only construction that they are doing right now, to my knowledge, is the construction that was already pre-approved in phase 2. They are not performing any.
The site plan was approved, but I'm saying there's a private improvement permit anytime you do construction on a commercial site. You got one for phase 1 to build the first warehouse. That permit was closed. You have no permit to do anything else on the site that I see construction activity out there.
No, we
So
do
I
have
was not made aware of that.
we do have a building.
There's a building permit for the secondary building according to the site plan.
Right, but the PIP permit didn't cover it.
PIP was closed?
PIP was for phase 1 only because they wanted,
Did that closing?
yeah, because they objected to the price for the whole thing, so we reduced the price up front to cover just phase 1 of the permit.
didn't understand that comment. What was that?
When you built, after the site plan's approved,
Right,
before you can do construction, you have to get a private improvement permit,
right,
which was obtained for phase one.
right.
And when we gave them the price, they objected because it was high, because it's based on the construction value of the site.
Okay,
So we reduced it because phase one is less than the entire site.
correct.
So phase one was built, permit's done.
Okay.
You gotta go build more, you need another permit.
But we have the permit.
No, you don't.
What's the permit that we have?
You have a building permit, not a private improvement permit for the site. They're two different permits.
Okay. How can you, okay, I'll ask that.
That covers the town to keep an eye on the SWIP work, keep an eye on the stormwater work, any utility connections.
Well, we also have CME there daily, on a daily basis, who's
That's for the building permit,
submitting reports that.
for the building permit,
Okay.
different than the site.
Completely unaware of a separate permit.
If you're building a building in phase two, though, isn't that a site improvement?
For phase two, but you don't have a private improvement permit for that work. The building permit issues for the building, not the site work.
So basically what you're saying is for this site, the site improvement permits, as you're referring to, was only set up for phase one.
Correct.
And paid for phase one. There was no payment for phase two.
Correct,
and
because they wanted to reduce costs, so we reduced it to phase one only.
Correct. And forgive me for not knowing that, because we actually came in as another engineer after the other engineer was let go. So I wasn't aware of this going forward. So in order to-
It's fairly simple, this.
Right. And that's fine. I just want to apologize for not having that available for you guys today. So what would be the next steps for getting
Come
this
down and
done?
get it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's available at the clerk's office.
Okay, no problem.
Any comments, members?
No.
Matt, any?
No.
Does this require seeker?
There's
Unlisted action?
unlisted.
Recommending it for 24 hours for the building.
What the pole barn is going to be 4,800 square foot. It's going to be 4,800 square foot. It's an 80 by 60 building, and then about another roughly 6,000 square foot of pavement for the drives in and out of the building.
Are we okay to initiate the process? then, or-
Seeker's already been coordinated, but just left yesterday, so,
Okay.
Did it like yesterday?
yep.
So essentially, the next step moving forward in this process is going to be for us to apply for that new permit to complete the pre-approved phase 2 portion of this project, as well as the phase 3, plus the modifications that we brought forth.
Yeah, I mean, you can add the pole barn into the same permit, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
once it's approved, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
I wasn't
no.
aware of that.
I mean, I wouldn't apply for the PIP until everything's approved, because they won't act on it until the site plan's approved.
Okay.
So we're probably looking at the July 15th?
Yes.
Or July 20th, I'm thinking, maybe? July 6th might be a little too early.
I mean, probably, but without setting a date, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm going to move the table to a future meeting.
Okay.
There's a few things to take care of, and then we can start the environmental review process.
Okay.
And that takes at least 30 days.
Are the engineering calculations settled?
Stormwater's good, yeah.
Okay.
If we have everything here, though, and with your time being so valuable, if we make the commitment to get that permit tomorrow, can we move forward with what we have tonight?
We still have to have the environmental review. Could you identify yourself for our minutes? I'm not sure.
I'm Mary Louise Merkel, I'm the owner of Hybrid Building Solutions, and I had actually spoken to you when we did phase 1, so I recognize quite a few faces.
Good.
And I invite you at any time to come down and see what we are doing. because I think you would be very impressed if you haven't driven by already. So anytime.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I have a motion on the table to table.
Can I ask one more question before
Sure.
we do? So that application process, who would be the best point of contact to speak to about the application and the permitting for the rest of the phases of this project? And
For the for the PIP?
Yes.
Yeah, well, like I said, the application's at the clerk's office, it's pretty simple of what's required.
All right.
But like I said, the town board won't act on that permit until the site plan's approved, especially if the pole barn's approved. And they won't issue a PIP for a plan that's not approved yet.
Right. So
About the portion of the plan that is approved.
If they want to split the PIP, they could, sure. If you want to do the phase 2 warehouse as one permit, and then come back and get the permit for the pole barn, that's fine.
So what, if, excuse me if I'm a little confused on this, but we submitted a site plan application to the building department where we submitted the 31 copies. Was that not for?
That's not the PIP.
That's not for the PIP?
No.
Okay. I was not made aware of that for this going forward. So I guess we'll take care of that and then we'll come back and try to get this approval done for the modifications.
Okay. All right, motion. Can I have a second to my motion?
Second.
Now, on the question, anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, site plan review for 4401 Walden.
Good evening. I'm Justin White, appearing on behalf of the applicant for this small warehouse addition, the small, essentially overhang, unconditioned addition. I don't know if there are any questions about it. I don't have one of those big diagrams that I've seen put up here on the podium. I guess you can pass this. That depicts the relatively small portion of the building that's been added to. And
It's an overhead picture of the site. Yeah, we have a copy of that.
oh, you have copies?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't.
Submitted.
Yeah.
I didn't have the presentation
got it.
piece.
We
Okay,
got
good. Yeah.
Basically the same as this one.
And it is about roughly 500 or 600 feet beyond the amount
Tony, you
that
wanna
would
peek
require
Oh, I got one in here.
approval.
Thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's just, it's relatively small amount beyond the approval of 750 square feet. It's like 1,200, 1,300 square feet, so it's relatively minor amount of addition.
Okay.
Well done, well engineered.
All right, will this require seeker?
No, this is a type 2 action
Okay.
for a 1,000 square foot addition.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right, any questions, members?
So this is 1,000 square feet, small addition, open air?
No, it's closed. It's closed. It has sheet metal walls
Oh, okay.
and then a garage door.
And a garage door. I'm good, thank you. I didn't hear what you said correctly. Thank you, Tony.
Well, you promised me before we met today that you'd at least ask one
Trying
question.
to give you a hard time? No, sometimes I don't hear too well. The acoustics in this room don't agree with me.
Okay?
Anything else?
No.
Okay, engineering?
No, I tied a comment into a concern that Matt had with some ditching that was going on. Stormwater is fine unless they're doing something to the west side ditch.
We received a complaint on May 17th about site work happening in the southwest portion of the property. And unfortunately, the operator of the machinery overshot the property line and damaged the stormwater system of the property of the adjoining neighborhood. So we were alerted of that, issued another stop work order, and if there was any drainage work that needs to happen on this site, it's got to be approved before the work happens. I've done some investigation with some other townships in the area, and it appears that this owner likes to start the work without permitting, which is what got us to this point. We were under frame before we were alerted of a 1,000 square foot addition of a commercial building in the town, which clearly is, need a building permit first of all, and then the site plan approval prior to that building permit. And it wasn't only 5 months after the stop work order was issued. Now we're doing some site work, rerouting stormwater, perhaps encroaching into a wetland area. So that's the background of the history of what we're dealing with as of today. I've spoken to the civil engineer that was called in to assist this owner, and he's assured me that they're going to restore the neighboring stormwater system to its original design, and then restore this property to its original topography. And should there be any other changes for the southern part of the property, they'll make the application to amend an existing site plan. But right now, we're only going to review a 1,000 square foot addition.
Okay, just this.
Just the 1,000 square foot addition.
Put my blinders
It's
on.
currently under roof and at the framing stage, and we'll address the building permit once that approval is set.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion? Can you hear anybody?
I'll make a motion that we approve, providing everything that building department needs is provided.
You have a second
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you.
I got through it.
Only for this.
I know, and you know what? A letter came in today to my office from Hodgson Rust representing the landowner affected by that drainage issue. And I got the message, and it's going to be conveyed to my client, and remediation will take place.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all
All
again.
right, thanks. Okay, Cross Creek, Phase 9. Gentlemen?
Evening. Ken Zalich with the engineering firm GPI. Also here tonight with me is Elliot Lasky of Pleasant View Gardens, the developer for Cross Creek Phase 9. Just give a real quick background on this site and this project. The board's seen it multiple iterations, multiple times over the last 5-6 years. We originally had a commercial plaza. That didn't pan out. We came back with an apartment project. 3 buildings for the apartment. We actually got quite a ways through that site plan approval process. Ultimately, there are adjoining resident concerns. We had some discussion with the town. The developer agreed to pull back and come back with just a straight-up 6-lot, single-family residential development. This board approved, or basically approved the sketch plan. We moved on to preliminary plat. The first meeting was held earlier this year for a preliminary plat. At that time, seeker was started. We held the public hearing in March. There were no comments or objections. We're now here after our seeker period has been completed. No comments on public hearing. We've addressed the concerns of the engineering, town engineer, as well as the building department, as far as I'm aware. We're working our way through our final Erie County approvals as well for this site, and we're asking the board for a preliminary plat approval recommendation tonight so that we can go to the town board for a final plat. This is about as straightforward as you can get for a subdivision. It's fronting on all existing streets. We have minor extensions of the sanitary sewer along the south side here, as well as a little bit on the north side. There will be no driveways fronting on Pavement Road. They'll be on Pleasant View Drive and Middlebury Lane. Overall, I believe we've addressed all the concerns, and as I said, this is pretty straightforward at this point.
Will it comply with our new lot size?
I did look at the new code. The new code does require 100-foot wide lots, is my understanding. This does not, but again, we've already gone through such a process with this one to the point where we've basically had sign-offs. I know there's a number of unanticipated delays in getting to the preliminary plat review stage here. So we would assume at this point we would be grandfathered in, given the point at which this project is in the stage in terms of how far we've come. You know, we're not just coming in for a sketch plan at this point.
If I may add to your question, sir, the property is zoned commercial, so I don't know what the status of the new recommendation on the lots are, but the way it's worded, it does not apply to this property, which under the commercial zoning, we have designed and fully engineered the project and actually have 2 contracts signed for the 6-lot subdivision, which we had submitted months ago, and for reasons that I still have not gotten any answers to, it has been tabled twice by this board in terms of granting us the preliminary plat approval that we're seeking.
Yeah, and I will add too that while this doesn't meet the new town regulations for residential, which were just adopted a short time ago, I think 2 weeks ago, we do exceed the original code as well. The original code was around 9,393.75 square feet for a single-family home. All of our lots are 12,000 square feet or more. So it's not like we're at the bare bones minimum originally. We well exceeded those. Our lot widths, I think we've got a minimum of 84 feet wide, which was 9 feet over the original code. Again, just given the stage that we're at, where we've gone through departmental reviews, and the only reason why we haven't received preliminary plat approval, honestly, I'm not too sure why it was delayed, but it's our position that, you know, at this point, we should be able to receive this. We've done all of our engineering work, gone through the secret process, and held the public hearing long before that code, the new code, was ever adopted.
Do you know that that code is adopted? Are the design standards formally adopted by the town board?
For the 100-foot
The
lot?
design changes for the schedule, we had a public hearing on May 16th.
Yeah, they were, I think they were.
Yeah, they were. So it's not grandfathered in. The lot sizes need to conform with the increase.
But how can we go through this whole engineering process and not even be notified of a change to the code on our project? I mean, we had a public hearing on this. The town engineer reviewed it and approved it. The building department had essentially reviewed it and accepted it. You can't just come back to a developer and say, I'm sorry, we changed the rules midstream without notifying you after you're essentially 2 feet from the finish line. And I'm not looking to blame anyone. I think this is an unfortunate situation that we're kind of caught in with this change, but we've been trying to get preliminary plat approval on this project since February. When we were in that position, I want to say in February, but we weren't able to get here.
We had almost fully approved engineered plans in both departments. The neighbors complained. I believe Mr. Schiller was there. I might be mistaken at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
The building commissioner was there. And notwithstanding the substantial expense spent in designing the buildings and in engineering, I had developed Cross Creek. There are 263 homes with the same size lots. These streets have been sitting there for a few years. I'm not putting in any new streets. If I lose 1 inch, I lose a lot. I'm going back to the apartments, okay? And I think it is not ethical for us to have petitioned in time to be on the agenda in March, to have had the hearings, and then twice be tabled without even being given an excuse why. And now you're going to say, well, we have a new zoning code and you don't match. Okay, I'm not happy. I don't know if I'm going to have to consult attorneys, but if I made my contracts contingent on approval, I'll have to nullify it. I'm going to go back to the apartments, but I think this is an unethical move. And before you vote, I'd like you to consider my situation. Legally, I am a grandfather. I have substantial expenses involved. I have approvals. I have fully engineered plans that have been reviewed and commented by all the agency, and there is no reason this minute not to give me the approval. Okay, and if you think there's an issue that the new law is going to prohibit it, let's deal with the town attorney on that, but I want the approval tonight.
I don't disagree with you,
I don't either.
but
Other than the
I don't think it's our
going
call.
back to the apartments.
But
I know.
the apartments are as of right. Which,
I agree.
yeah.
Okay? You're about to put the first nail into the wood, pour the first foundation, and nope, we're gonna pull the rug out from under you. I agree with you. I approve it, I'm not sure where we're gonna go.
You can
When is the law
recommend approval to
effective?
the town board, but I guess it'll be up to them at that point too.
When is the law effective? I'm sorry.
Isn't it a certain number of days after it's approved, then it becomes effective, and it's got to be filed with the Secretary of State or with the
You
county?
don't
or
even
something?
have proof of filing from the Secretary of State. To my knowledge, I researched it this morning. So I'm not 100% sure the law's even implemented. You just reviewed a comment letter at the beginning of the meeting, and apparently that has no comment on it. I'm not sure you've perfected the zoning, but even if you did, this means all criteria ever put in any court case in terms of substantial expense and vested rights.
I hate to say I agree with you, but I absolutely agree with you. And I suspect there is a waiting period.
There has to be.
Pardon?
Just the filing process alone,
Yeah.
there would have to be. Everything is bureaucratic, but I think that if we did
Okay.
recommend approval, it goes to the board to decide.
I agree with you.
That is a,
Ken, I tried to give you a heads up, but I know I was way late, but I kind of forgot that this was still pending, you know, and
And
oh,
Lisa
geez.
sent out a list of subdivisions that were still pending approval, and we've got the new.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think
That's just
that's
a
part of the
notification to
frustration
us.
was just
Right.
kind of feeling caught off guard that this change occurred. And I know the town has their public notices and that, but we all know not everyone's looking at the Lancaster Bee every week for that. So that, I think that's part of the frustration, but certainly, you know, we'd look for that recommendation for the town board. And if we need to have further discussions with the attorney's office, we're certainly willing to do that.
All right, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if Matt, if you can help me out, this is the one subdivision that was the farthest along. The other proposals we've had in front of us didn't get in the
Right,
schedule.
one was Seabird, which has probably been discontinued.
And I can't remember why we tabled it, but I'm not sure why it took so long to come back either, but it's neither here nor there right now. I'm going to make a motion that we recommend approval
And I'll second.
on the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for that a little more.
No, you're,
But the truth is, I backed off to make the neighbors happy.
you're within your rights, and...
what'd you learn?
And I, Mr. Lasky,
But you came back with a
And
totally
I'm
new
fine with the
plan.
whole subdivision.
Right.
Okay?
Mr. Lasky, I know you did that.
Thank you.
I'm aware of that.
Have a good evening.
Very
Thank
good.
you for your time.
Sorry to stop your heart.
I'm hastening.
Well, I know, I do too.
And I'm a car, yeah.
I'm waiting for it to go off.
Before we move on to the last one, the town board needs this board to recommend a negative declaration to adopt the changed local law for the special use permit. So I have a long form seeker here to go through, so you can recommend a negative declaration for the local law to be adopted.
The local law for,
The special use permit.
We got to use the long form for that?
Okay.
so that's our discussion.
Well, I will say it's up to you if you want to go through the long form or just make a recommendation for a negative declaration, and then the town board can go through as if they wish to.
All right, is everybody aware of the local law, what we're talking about?
Not really.
I have copies.
I have it here somewhere, but Emily, if you have it,
Is it available electronically on the website somewhere?
I can give you this. I don't know if it's on the website.
I'll take all.
For home occupation? You know,
No, this
where-
is the lot size.
All right, the law is this,
Oh. Thanks.
Sorry.
except for subdivisions that have been duly filed in the office of the county clerk, if construction of an approved development site plan has not commenced within 2 years from the date of site approval, that approval shall be deemed revoked. A one-time additional 1-year extension may be granted by the town board upon receipt of the following. A written request for extension must be submitted to the town board, town clerk, and town attorney's office. B, request must include a current environmental assessment form and comply with current state, county, and town zoning and building codes, laws, regulations. C, applicant must present to and receive approval recommendation from the town's planning board department.
Okay, Neil, sorry. What you're reading is the last thing on our agenda, special use permit. What I just handed out, I was mistaken, is the
Lot size.
increased lot size, the amended zoning law.
Okay, I was doing what the,
What's
yeah,
on the agenda? See what you're doing.
this is not what I was supposed to be doing? I thought we needed to recommend, I thought Lisa told me that the planning board needed to recommend, because the planning board did not make a recommendation here. Because this was just a recommendation for the public hearing.
Okay, so yes, that's for the home occupation.
Yeah.
So that's correct. This is, I guess, in addition to, this is separate.
But if this local law was passed by the town board, why are we dealing with this amendment now?
Because now the town board needs a seeker recommendation. It's for it to go back. That's
So obviously the law isn't in effect.
No.
That's
that
what
he
Evan
was-
just saying to me. So it's gonna be back on the agenda. So if this is on the same agenda for approval as the town board.
At the last town board meeting, they had both the hearing and the resolution for adoption on the meeting agenda.
Yeah.
They hold off the hearings until 7:15. And as they were moving through the resolutions, they passed the resolution for the code change prior to them conducting the hearing. So the hearing is good. They have to repass the resolution because they did it out of order.
So the law isn't in effect.
It is not.
So he's completely correct.
Now,
Just 15 minutes late.
and they require a neg deck to adopt the law.
Okay.
The type 1 action. That's why you got the letter from DEP saying no comment.
So if they require a neg deck from us,
The recommendation.
and we all are in support of,
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the long
So I-
form, a long form is always project related, there is no project. So, I mean, you look at most of those questions and it's,
so I don't.
no.
No.
Just,
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
why isn't it a type 2 action?
because it affects the town-wide land.
All right, well,
Type
Is it classified as a type 1 MO?
It is. So
one. That's why she
You
sent
don't-
out to DEP.
need to go through it. I have them here if you want them, but
I'm okay. What's your pleasure if we just recommend a neg deck?
Yeah, I agree.
Can I have a motion to that effect?
motion.
Motion by John, second
I'll second it.
on the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried.
No problem.
All right, so that was it for that discussion there?
No, that was home occupation. Is there any information on home occupation change?
what you were just reading is.
Yeah, I mean,
Home occupation?
Yeah. That's what Neil was reading before.
am I supposed to do something there?
Lot sizes.
No.
What Neil was reading was the amendment to the lot sizes and some setback requirements of Schedule B. Tonight, we're listed as a discussion topic for a change in the home occupation requirement. It's under the 400-14 subsection C as accessory use to residential occupancy. I'm not familiar with what the change is. I haven't been able to read any proposed law. It'd be good to review it.
Yeah, I don't-
Discussion on it.
have a copy of it here, so.
All right, so I guess I did have the wrong thing here, huh? So it uniformly identifies that a special use permit is required for all home occupations throughout the town code. All right, so all we need is so all we're really doing then is recommending approval of the need for a special use permit for home occupations? Am I getting this wrong?
It's already required.
Yeah, so what am I don't understand what we're doing.
Either.
Why is it on the agenda?
Do you mind if I read you the code? Because if there is a change.
Yeah, read it, because there is this printout here, so if you want to read that
I'll be
now,
happy
see what
to,
the difference
have a
is.
discussion of what the changes are and how to make application for it. Okay, so chapter 400, section 16, subsection F, home occupations. A special use permit shall be required for any home occupation pursuant to 400-78 of this chapter. Such permit shall be issued by the town board for a period of up to 2 years, only after a public hearing as required by the town law. The permit may be renewed by the town board upon written request by the permittee, delivered to the town clerk, subject to an inspection by the town building inspector's office to determine compliance with such permit as originally issued. And then there are several conditions for a home occupation. Only persons residing at the premises will be engaged in such an occupation. Suitable off-street parking shall be provided if the home occupation contemplates on-site customers. The home occupation shall be an accessory use to the principal residential use. The area devoted to the home occupation shall not exceed 25% of the ground floor area of the principal structure, and the use may occur within the principal or an accessory structure. 4, there will be no changes to the outside appearance of a building or premises other than visible evidence of the conduct of such occupation. 5, no equipment or process shall be used that creates noise, vibration, glare, fumes, odors, or electrical interference perceptible to the normal sense of the subject lot. And then finally, the town board may establish additional permit conditions and restrictions as it deems necessary to protect the general wealth, health, and safety of the surrounding community. That's the way the code reads today.
What about signage and?
There's no physical change to the outside of the building.
Okay.
There are no signs permitted in a residential district.
Okay.
All right, I know we're spinning our wheels a little bit here, but let me read what Lisa wanted me to look at. A local law amending the code of the town of Lancaster by updating and correcting requirements for home occupation within the residential district and zoning 400 Attachment 1 Schedule A. Be it hereby enacted by the town board of the town of Lancaster as follows. Section 1, to read as in its entirety. C is changed to home occupations, parentheses, with special use permit. So apparently there's something in the code that doesn't include that now. Section 2, we'll now read in its entirety, home occupations, parentheses, with special use permits. Section 3, we'll read in its entirety, home occupations with special use permits. Section 4, hereby amended as follows: permitted principal use P, permitted accessory use A, principal use with special use permit PSUP, accessory use. So it sounds to me like it's just terminology and that type of thing, right?
So we're amending Schedule A, it sounds like,
Yes.
not so much the code.
Yeah, attachment 1, Schedule A.
And I personally don't think we should vote on anything, since none of us really knew what that agenda item meant. When we got no documentation, we got no history, he had no time to even understand what we're voting.
Right, yeah, it sounds like it's just a typo, but what if it's not?
Well, I'll take the blame for that because
I'm not blaming you, but we have nothing here.
This is a discussion, so I mean, it's good that we're having a discussion.
I know Lisa, she wanted to set up a public hearing for it on June 6th. So I thought it would be pretty much a rubber stamp, to tell you the truth. But if we're not comfortable with that, we can wait. Take a better look at it and do it next meeting.
Yeah, but if we're gonna need a public hearing anyways, can't we set the public hearing, get some documentation?
I think the town board has to set the public hearing.
Oh.
It's town board.
So,
That's just my opinion. There's a lot of people here.
no, you have a point. How do you guys feel?
I wish I had my pile here, because I think they sent everything out before. And I went through it and said, well, I'll wait till I see something I need to know about this before I really read it, because there's so much to read. And then I didn't connect the two. Every now and then, things come from the attorney's office in our mailing. And you go, what does this mean? And I read through it, but it doesn't start to change or proposal or something until then I see a discussion. So I may have seen this, but I agree. We're in a discussion. It doesn't say anything here about, I don't know what they mean by approve a local law. We're discussing it. We're not approving it. Town board approves it. So I'm just saying.
So you could recommend to the town board the public hearing and then.
Yeah, I don't have any problems making a recommendation that if there's going to be changes to the home occupations. But does the home occupation specifically list what's allowed, or is it's by function?
It's by function, it's use, and it's permitting accessory uses. Are we familiar with Schedule A of the code that lists the permitted uses?
That's what I don't have in front of me.
Okay, because I have an electronic copy of it here, and the way it's reading, and I believe this is where the amendment needs to come for a correction in the schedule, right? Because the code is already there. Under home occupations, in the residential districts, it's just listed as an accessory use. It should read accessory with special use permit.
And that's what he's correct.
And I believe that's what you just read.
Yeah.
That's what he just read.
So it's a typographical correction. It's not a code change because it's already required.
Yeah.
It's a table change.
The table just needs to be corrected.
Yeah, I think it's pretty basic. I'd be okay if we went ahead, to tell you the
It's
truth.
fundamental. For me, it doesn't matter because you read it in the code portion and it's applicable. Home occupations require special use permit.
Do you see a lot of this, Matt? People coming in with requests?
I do on a regular basis. And I treat the schedules like a supplement to the code, but the code is the law. That's where you get all the information from. The design standards are also listed in the Schedule B, which was corrected, that last week, but needs to, the flow of the process needed to be solidified and put the cart before the horse. So, okay, we'll try better the next time around. We know what the intent of the code is. Mr. Lasky, I think, was more than gracious. I felt my blood pressure going up. I feel the calls all week about lot changes. Why are you doing this? How is this? When is that? I'm thinking to myself, the process is done. We've already had sketch plans on some of these things. Preliminary plans are yay and nay. And it's been fun, I can tell you.
So we're just recommending that the town board has a public hearing, and that's required of the planning board?
Is the hearing required to change the schedule?
It's a correction to the existing schedule.
Yeah,
All it is a correction to the existing schedule, so the process requires the public hearing for input.
To be set by
Then
the
let the
town board.
process roll that the town board has to set. Is whether or not the planning board agrees with correcting the schedule.
Yes,
Yes, there you go.
we do. I do.
Provided it's what we think it is.
It is.
That's graphical. I believe
Yeah,
it is.
Given what the chairman read.
Yeah, I
it's-
believe it
It's
is.
correcting
Right.
the verbiage within the schedule so that it reflects the code accurately.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
So I
we're
guess-
gonna see more and
We're
more of
not
this.
changing the requirements, we're correcting.
We're augmenting something.
So besides the discussion of the planning board, is there anything we need to do? We're discussing it, right?
Yeah.
We're discussing it.
Emily, do you have any legal?
It sounds like the
Don't
rest of
they
it,
have to recommend that the town board sets a public hearing?
Recommending a public hearing,
Yeah.
correct Schedule A to reflect.
Right.
If you'd like, I'd be happy to dictate the verbiage so that we all, so it's what it's intended to do. The way this read was like we're changing something, you're not.
I guess I don't understand why the planning
It-
board has to recommend that the town board sets a public hearing
Because they want.
for a typographic change in the book.
The town board wants your
I think we need,
recommendation of approval of the
Yeah.
changes.
all right, all it does is uniformly identify, I'm quoting now, all it does is uniformly identify that a special use permit is required for all home occupations throughout the town code. As it affects zoning, it should be approved by the planning board. All right, so I'm okay with it. I think Matt's explained it pretty well. I think it's, so I'm going to make a motion that we recommend approval.
Recommend correcting
Correct.
Schedule A to reflect the current zoning code.
Okay,
Home occupations.
what he said. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I don't think we need to recommend a public hearing. I don't think
No,
that's
no.
in our.
No, that's,
All right. All right, so then on the motion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any other discussion, Matthew? Nothing tonight?
I'm smoked right now. I'm telling you, it's been, I'm fun.
Sorry to hear that. Anybody else?
But I like that the clerk at the desk doesn't make recommendations. That, no,
I mean, the guy's been dragged under the mud. I mean,
Right.
It's not my fault that I made a bad purchase. It's his fault. We gotta stop this. You know, and if you don't mind, and this is recorded fine. This property was originally slated to be subdivided to build apartments on at the end of the division. If the fellow that owned the junkyard on Broadway had it, and they had the house, the garage.
Nick Marcinizan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so they were gonna subdivide it, and I go back into the records, the attorney at the time says, nope, it's not a permitted use, the board denied it, it's not happening. Well, he filed the subdivision, he filed the deed to break the lots up, not knowing that the deed was described incorrectly, that included a garage structure on the vacant lot. So this house that's already existing, the lot line is like 2 feet from each side of the house. That's all they owned when they bought this thing in 90-something, right? So for 20-something years, they've been living in this house, renovated the house, second floor, all this other, and they've been using this garage. And they paved the parking area, the driveway, they're using it, right? So lo and behold, Cerniaks purchased the property, they get the deed, they got the survey, it's like, oh, cool, it's got a garage in the property. And then they show up with the chainsaws and the machines, and that's when we got involved. It's like, whoa, guys, time out. And that's when we identified there's a huge problem with description, a huge problem with dividing properties in town without approvals. That's why we approve dividing properties. This is what minor subdivision is about. So, they got stuck with a handful of mess, but they're working to get to it. But I don't accept throwing the staff under the bus because I recalled the conversations with that zoning clerk, and it was, no, we're going to put an office there. I own a business, and I'm going to put an office, a business office. in the RCO district was permitted all day long. Not a contractor company, construction company, that's GI.
That's right.
So again, Bradley was the exact same thing. The end of Bradley Street, if we recall, and I think I sent everybody that way back in the day, the original owner was going to put a senior complex at the end of that street.
I remember
Prior
that.
to the Blackstone development.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
That's what was going to happen because his development plans were a senior complex.
It was.
Right, and he was, how beautiful the one was out in Hamburg. He says, yeah, but that's on Southwestern Boulevard, not buried in a residential area. They were here first.
Right, so when Blackstone came, they took a piece of that land, added it to Blackstone, and they left it undeveloped properties. It was raw land in the town of Lancaster. It's no different than the Windsor Ridge or the Field Street. It's raw land, it's undeveloped property. It's not as of right to build a house, no street frontage. You know, and if we have to define a definition of what road frontage is, parallel with your roadway as opposed to perpendicular.
Like trying to build a house right smack dab at the end of Lake Avenue where I live.
Exactly.
It's like, not.
All Summit Drive, all of those dead kind of streets, Iroquois, and, you know.
I have a question on turnarounds on some of our existing streets. The town built those.
I'm sorry?
On the T-turns on existing streets like Lake, did the town?
Oh, on those streets, I don't know, they're so old. The ones in subdivisions, no.
No, there's no subdivisions or
Yeah.
anything.
But on the town roads, on the older town roads like
Right.
Lake, I'm assuming the
I'm
town built.
assuming they did too.
Assuming the town built them.
So then, on Bradley's a town road. If Bradley wanted a turnaround, I would think if it was to go through, the town should build a turnaround, not the property owner.
Actually, the town should put the barricades
Okay,
with the stop sign at the end, and then the signage at the entry that is a dead end.
it's a dead-end street.
These
And-
are existing old town roads that just have no transportation.
They don't.
The point of development is when the developer can install the proper termination according to the town code,
Right,
not the town. The town shouldn't incur that expense.
okay.
I mean, how many years has the town highway department pushed snow down at the end of the street where it backed up and it blocked the driveways? You just grab the high lift and push it over the barricade. Eventually, the barricade disappears.
Yeah.
It gets wrecked, you know, and there's
Right.
no funding to repair, replace it. They just leave it.
Right.
You know, Marquis Street, another perfect example. There's a landscape company at the end of Marquis Street in the residential district. Somebody issued a pole barn permit, accessory to a house on a separate lot. No, you know, I mean, this is the ill effects of being understaffed and not being able to keep up with the workload of the town. It's just what we have to do.
That's why in Division, they're deeding over a piece of land to the town.
Pardon?
That's why on Division, they're deeding over that piece of land to the town, so the turnaround can be
Right.
properly placed.
Right,
Like,
which
on-
is a point in their favor, but on the other hand, I think it's a mechanism of getting us to go
Well,
along with their
yeah.
plan.
It feels that way.
But, the same thing would be on Bradley, there's no, to put a turnaround in, somebody's gotta give the town some land. So there's no.
Or at least clear the driveway of the snow that's gonna get pushed down to the end of the street, because that plow truck is not gonna maneuver and just stop, back up and leave. And if this poor guy in the driveway, he's gonna have a mountain of snow at the end of the street.
Right.
So why would we do that? Why
Right.
would we administratively give the guy a permit to do that, or approve something?
I think everybody should ride down there. You'll be surprised what you see. It's very narrow, it's one-lane street, there's 3 or 4 houses. It's
Division.
very old architecture, and this does not fit in.
I was there once when they
Yeah.
first came in, like, after they had first come in, I went, and I couldn't find it at first. I don't know why I couldn't find it, I'm driving around Bowmansville,
I believe it used to be Old Genesee Street,
well,
if I'm not mistaken. Genesee was a little bit further north than it is now.
Yeah.
I believe that's where it was. I'm not 100%, but
Ew.
something tells me that the state, when they realigned and did what they did, and floodplains and all that other gas, something happened.
If I Google this, will it show up? Maybe not.
Maybe
Well, before we adjourn, I think that I mentioned that the staff was great today. Everything that we pointed out, the pips, the this, we had a great, let's say, voice that was heard by the staff, enabling us to make decisions. That is your office, and legal.
Yeah.
I'm complimenting somebody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We did not see that.
You know, I've got a high bar.
Right.
And I'm still not fully satisfied with the output of the department based on the workload. And, I'm always looking to improve the process, making things easier for applicants, streamlining things, but we have to make sure that we hit all of the required
Right.
features.
But the knowledge that you brought to tonight's meeting was invaluable to making decisions that we have to make.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, today was everything.
We would be lost without it,
Yeah, exactly.
essentially.
I said, I'm waiting for pearls of wisdom to come out of somebody's mouth other than
We're all the resources of the board, and we're working as a team to build the town out at its best, for its best, for everybody involved.
I have said this before, I've been on this board for a long time, and we have the best staff. We have the best we've ever had. In all the years I've been here, we've always had good people, smart, intelligent people, but man, you guys are the best. I mean, the engineering is great with the people we had before, were fine, but I'm not going to name names on record. But we had a lot of stuff that happened that just should not have done. It didn't get the review it should have, it didn't get the support to make the corrections it should have. So you look around town and we end up with the end of Division Street or something, So.
And that includes our recording center.
Okay.
Okay,
Minutes were perfect.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Unanimous second?
Unanimous.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Good, thanks. Yeah. First one ever.
I spread it around, but it was
It's like, make sure they don't approve it, 'cause we need to,
Okay, great.
or they need to
It never ends.
Yeah, I thought I dived that hole.
Every project.
okay.
Run a downward slide again.
Because
They didn't get sick at all.
Oh,
One night,
Yeah.
we went to
Well,
Chicago, my wife and I, and I felt a little, I got up there in the night.
All this is unnecessary.
I was there for 4 more days, and I was like,
Well, no, they recommend
walking 20 miles.
Yeah.